Hey Noki, how do you edit your videos? Said no one ever. Well, you're in luck because you, yes you viewer, are about to learn how I edit my videos step by step.
Yeah, that's great, Noki, but I don't think anyone asked.
Shut up, Timmy. Everyone knows you were an accident.
As stated previously, I'm going to show you how I edit my videos step by step and show you the processes and the, steps I take to edit a video that I would call, good content. Step 1.
Atmosphere.
In order to start editing your video, you need to have a good atmosphere going on in wherever the space you're recording is, or just like your house where you edit. Whenever I want to get into the mood to edit, I usually like to put on a record. You can use Spotify or iTunes or whatever, but I just like having vinyl copies of albums just because it's like not having a physical copy of it. Today's albums of choice will be Led Zeppelin's debut album and the Beatles' Yellow Submarine album. With that out of the way, we can now move to step 2.
Software.
You can edit with anything as simple as iMovie or like Windows Movie Maker Pro. I, however, like to use a bit more of a complex software. I like to use a program called Sony Vegas Pro 14. Came out in 2016 and has been my go-to editor since 2017. With that out of the way, we can now move on to step 3.
Edit, you lazy bum.
It is now the time that we start editing our video. So it took me about a year or so to get good at editing using this program, but with a simple editor, you could probably get the hang of it within 10 minutes. The last video that I recorded, which was Hurricane Simulator Part 8, I screen recorded all of the process of editing except for the first 30 seconds because I forgot to hit record. So without further ado, let's get on to the footage. You can find the link to Hurricane Simulator Part 8 in the description and with a little tag coming up right now on the right hand side of your screen, so please go check that out, and without further ado, let's start. A lot of times with the memes and stuff that I like to use for videos, I like to use a converter and download them to my computer. Sometimes if I'm feeling like the converter is sketchy, I usually use my screen recorder and just screen record it and then implement it into the video there. Not as good looking, but it still is better than having a virus on your PC. Right now I am downloading a green screen effect for a explosion so that I can use it over top of the Hurricane Simulator logo. That isn't really a necessary thing, but I just like to use it as a joke because I think it's kind of funny and it adds kind of an emphasis to the thing happening. Right now what I'm doing is I'm using a chroma key here so that I can get rid of the green part of the green screen so that only the explosion is showing, so that there's obviously not a giant green screen blocking the rest of the screen. Did that make sense? I don't know. Once I finished up with the green screen effect there, now I'm just going to start reviewing some of the clips that I have. I usually watch through the entire video and then I start editing the clips together. Right now I'm just trimming some of the parts where I find are kind of boring so that I can put some sort of funny joke in there. Funny is in quotation marks there, as you can tell. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just cutting away a lot of the boring parts, a lot of the long parts where there's not a lot happening. This is key if you want to make your videos interesting and if you want people to stick around for the majority of your video. You got to make sure that it's not boring, even if you have to cut out large portions of your videos. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just doing some zoom-ins just to emphasize some jokes and just to make it more interesting is why you do that. Adding a color-coded or a color corrector so that it can go along with the ear rape joke that I was going for in that clip. A lot of times YouTubers will use zoom-ins to make sure that their content isn't boring. I do a couple of these here, especially that one right there. It's just to make the video a little bit more interesting. It's not much, but it does go a long way. Sometimes I'll even use zoom-ins to emphasize a stutter that I have when talking. So like at one point I'll stutter, do a zoom in, and then another point I'll stutter and then do another zoom in, like that right there. I kind of stuttered and emphasized the stutter, kind of trying to make fun of myself in a sense. That zoom in there, I emphasized an event that was happening on screen. For instance, Hurricane Bonnie was approaching the shore as like a Category 4 hurricane, and I wanted to make sure that it was emphasized. And here is a part that I really like to do, is adding text to sort of make fun of myself too. If I say something stupid, I'll add it in text and just make it as a joke. It's not much either, but that also does go a long way. One thing that a lot of new YouTubers don't understand is that when you're editing, you have to realize that you're gonna have to cut out a lot of the stuff that you just recorded in order to make it interesting. For instance, in this clip, this video here, I recorded for about 35 minutes and only 10 minutes of it made the final cut. That is normal. Normally you could expect to like end up cutting out 90% of your footage. As long as you have like the best moments and make it interesting, then your video will go a long way. Once again, here's a couple of zoom-ins that I do to emphasize something happening on screen. Like I said, these will spice up your video a little bit and make it a bit more interesting. You don't want to use these too much because then the joke becomes a little bit boring, but if you use them sparingly and to the right amount, it will spice up your video and make it a lot more interesting than what it was before. Here is a TV simulator that I'm adding to the cut to make it seem to emphasize a joke. With this TV effect, I like to use a VCR type effect, and also I can't spell. This is an edit that I don't use all that much, and the reason why I don't use it all that much is because it can only be used in the proper moment. So like for instance, I used that one, and I used it because it was to emphasize a joke that I made, obviously, and it just seemed like the right joke. Here I am searching for a specific sound effect that I wanted to use for the TV simulation part. It was a clip from the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It was a sound effect that they used when they were going up the elevator. It was like a little jingle, and I wanted to use that because I thought it would have fit the TV simulation perfectly, kind of emphasizing the comedic effect to it. However, there was a clip of one of the voice actors talking over it, so I couldn't use that effect, and that does happen a lot when you have a perfect idea for a sound effect that you think fits the moment perfectly and nothing else will fit it. It turns out that it won't fit because something else is happening, so unfortunately I had to substitute it for just a regular elevator sound effect that I found on the internet that Vanos Gaming used, and I thought it worked nicely. So although I didn't use the perfect effect that I thought was perfect, I ended up finding a substitute one, and it worked nearly as well. So I found the substitute sound effect that I wanted to use, and now I am implementing it into Sony Vegas Pro, and I'm going to lay it over the two clips that I have. And I decided to add a trademark just to emphasize a joke again. And there's the sound effect that I just added, and I am now resuming the clips all back together, and now the video continues as it once was going. Something very important that I should mention is don't forget to save your work regularly. Too many times have I been editing a video and the program happens to just crash or my computer loses power, and then I just have to shut off the computer completely, and then my progress is gone. And sometimes it was hours of work that I poured into this video, and then I just have to restart it because I forgot to save it. So please, and I beg you, please remember to save your work because it will save you a lot of trouble in the end. I'm doing a couple of weird finicky edits here, like there are a couple of hurricanes in there, and then the statistics are in the top portion of the screen, so I have to like mesh the two together while doing a zoom in. So what I'll do is I'll double track the video and zoom in on the hurricanes and then mask the statistics and then bring it into the shot, so it's like a custom edit almost. It's very tricky, well, not tricky, it's just time consuming. But it does make the video look that much cleaner, and it makes it look, I guess, more professional in a sense. So I would recommend you take the extra time and make your video look a little more professional. When I download clips, I don't use them just once in a video and then call it a day. I like to use audio clips over and over and over again in different videos because sometimes the jokes can be, you know, like sometimes the jokes still apply to this particular sound effect. So it's kind of a waste to use them just once and call it a day for just this one video. Like, for instance, the one sound effect that I'm doing here is the, what's his name? Something Westbrook. Anyways, he did a clip that was like, what? Bro, what you talking about? So I like to use that clip a lot just because it almost makes me look, it makes a joke of me being stupid, and it also can have a funny effect on the gameplay that's going on. Sorry for that long audio clip, it was just hard to explain that one. Also, I'm an idiot, the guy's name is Russell Westbrook, I'm so sorry. Sometimes videos can be like dependent on your commentary, and a lot of times I find videos are boring because my commentary are not like up to par. So like I try to have a good commentary game because it makes the editing process a lot better and makes it easier on me to edit a video instead of me having to like do all these wacky edits just to make up for the commentary being boring. So for instance, the joke here that was what killed JFK, that I found was decent commentary and was kind of spiced up the video a little bit by making it more interesting and not making me have to edit as hard or as intense to make up for the boring commentary. So that is all I'm going to be showing you guys for editing the video today, just because this goes on for another 10 minutes and this is sped up as fast as it possibly could be, or as much as the editor will allow it. So this is all that I'm going to show you just for interesting's sake. I know a lot of you guys probably have lost interest by now, but the entire time, this video took about an hour and 17 minutes to edit, which is a relatively short time. I managed to get through the video pretty quickly, and usually it can take anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to edit a video, but this one went by relatively quick, and it ended up being about an hour and 20 minutes to edit. Thank you all so much for being willing to listen to me ramble about editing videos for about 12 minutes on end. It means a lot. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the Hurricane Simulator video, and if you want to see more of me doing commentary over editing, please let me know and I will do my best to do so. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you the next time. Bye!